Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to the Analytics Engineering Live Kickoff. Today should be pretty amazing. I'm really excited to get everyone in here and get everyone rolling with this kickoff. It should be a really great time. We're going to be starting classes tomorrow. Tomorrow should be the first day of classes, and we will be able to have a lot of good, awesome time. I'm going to give people about 2 minutes here to roll on in, and then we will get started here. But just wanted to say I'm very excited for this, and I know that y'all are gonna all crush it. Yeah, amazing. I love to see all the people who are already in here. This is gonna be really great. So, what are y'all the most excited about? Hi, Zach. Are you still in Thailand? Yeah, I'm still in Thailand until Friday. I'll be back in San Francisco. I'm flying back over the weekend, and then I will be in uh, San Francisco for the rest of this boot camp. Should be pretty great. Let me actually open this to the full present. Oh yeah, that looks much, much better. It was like side by side. Yeah, side by side is much cooler. Cool. Let me see if I can. Cool, cool, cool. We're gonna be starting here in just like 1 minute. I like to start at 8:03 so we can get everyone rolling in here. All right, all right, all right. Let's all right. Well, let's go ahead and get this kickoff going. All right, welcome everyone to the April 14th Data Expert Analytics Engineering Bootcamp kickoff. I love these kickoffs. If you have any questions, we will have time at the end to answer any questions that y'all might have. So let's get into this. So over the next 5 weeks, you're going to learn a lot. We're going to be learning about Snowflake, about Iceberg, about DBT, about building a Capstone project. There's going to be a lot of different pieces of this puzzle. This boot camp is not necessarily for the faint of heart or for the lazy. If you are either of those things, this is probably not going to be a good fit for you. The goal here is to find dedicated learners who are ready to change their lives and up level their skills and get ready for the future. And on top of that, this is actually the beginning of a 15-week challenge that I am starting. So we're going to be doing a 15-week challenge that's going to be has a couple different pieces to it. So starting tomorrow or today, I guess, we are doing the analytics engineering 5 weeks. Then at the end of that, we will be starting a data engineering boot camp for 5 weeks. And then we'll be doing an AI engineering boot camp for 5 weeks. So at the end of that, if you commit to this learning challenge over the next 15 weeks, you will come out the other end significantly more prepared for the future, significantly less anxious about the future. And I'm really excited for y'all to potentially take me up on this challenge. If not, any one of these by themselves is also a great learning opportunity. So, what are we going to cover today? We're going to be covering why you made a great decision joining this program, how to get the most out of this boot camp, the curricula for the analytics engineering bootcamp, the bootcamp structure and timelines. We'll talk a little bit about the Capstone project, and then we're going to talk about policies and structures, things like refund policies and stuff like that. Okay, so why did you make a great decision? This bootcamp is intense, and my goal is to give you all the information that you need to be successful to level up your career in as little of time as possible. This is one of the things that's different from my boot camp versus other boot camps that might be like 3 months or 6 months or whatever. Is like I'm trying to meet intensely and frequently and have it just kind of dump all the knowledge you need on top of you for 5 weeks and get you on your way because I value your time. Other things, we have Q&A sessions with industry leaders throughout the bootcamp. We actually have 2 slots. I have 10 industry leader Q&A sessions throughout the bootcamp. We have TA office hours to answer all your questions. That one should be great. Then we have a special series on career development and interview help. That will be led by Matali Gupta. She's putting a lot of energy and effort into that segment of the boot camp. And also, just joining already, if you already joined, then that means you have a 50% off ticket to the data engineering bootcamp in May and a 50% off ticket to the AI bootcamp in June. So you already have a gigantic step ahead for your skill development just by making the decision to be here today. How to get the most out of this bootcamp? Okay, so a couple things here. For all attendees, this is going to be if you are in here to learn a little bit or to learn a specific thing, ask questions and be social. We're here to make friends, right? It's not about just the learning that you have, it's also about the friends you make along the way. We will be putting you into groups based on time zone. So we're going to need you to fill out your time zone in your profile page. If you go to dataexpert.io/profile, you'll see that there's a time zone selector. Please make sure that that's filled out accurately so that we can put you into a group to make friends and to have bootcamp buddies. Attend the lectures and do the homework. We see that people who attend the lectures live and treat this like a college experience are going to have more success than people who treat it like a self-paced course. Because I don't know if you know, but like self-paced courses on average have about a 5% completion rate, whereas this boot camp has about a 90% completion rate. And the reason that is because people treat this like college and they come to the live lectures and they engage. And also build pipelines on the infrastructure we give you. You're going to have access to Astronomer, Airflow, Snowflake, DBT, all of these awesome technologies that will allow you to build your own infrastructure or build your own pipelines on infrastructure. You're not going to need to spend any more money here on cloud tools. Like all of the tools are covered in your bootcamp tuition. Yeah, I would say those are going to be that's for all attendees. And if you are trying to be a tryhard to really level up your skills and really level up your brand and really level up everything about your career, there's going to be three other things you're going to want to do. First off is post about your learnings on LinkedIn. That is a very, very important part of the journey here. If you can share your learning, like there's this whole idea of learning in public, do it. And I am totally okay with you posting a single slide or a summary of the day. That stuff is a very powerful way for you to also remember your own learnings, because if you can write it out, then you'll be able to do that and then share it in public, and then people will respond and people will see you, and that's another great way to build up your personal brand. I've seen hundreds of students do this, and it has gotten them more jobs and more visibility than you could ever imagine. It's completely changed their lives. Also, give your full effort on the Capstone project. Do that. The Capstone project at the end of the day is the thing that gets people raises and opportunities and jobs. This is the thing. I had a student in the last analytics engineering bootcamp. Name was Hitesh. He did a capstone project on Formula One racing. And at the end of that, he got over a 100% raise at his next role. So this bootcamp completely changed his life. And that came back to how much effort he put into the capstone project. Last but not least here is definitely just take all three boot camps, because analytics engineering, data engineering, and AI engineering, they're all closely related at the end of the day anyways. So if you can take all three boot camps, that will allow you to have a really amazing, either three amazing capstone projects or one really amazing capstone project that you work on over the next 15 weeks. And that will allow you to get to an even deeper level, because then you'll have more clarity on whether or not you want to be an analytics engineer, a data engineer, an AI engineer, or some blend of those roles. So how do study groups work? We're going to group you together based on time zone. You should be in a group of 3 to 6 students, unless you're like the one guy joining in from Antarctica. And there's usually like 1 or 2 people who are like kind of you get put into another group because your time zone has nobody, or your time zone has very few people in it, that allows us to club you into a group. But generally speaking, you will be in a group with 3 to 6 students based on your time zone. Uh, Keeping in mind that we learn as a group in this boot camp. This group is going to be your people. These are the people who you fight in the trenches with. These are the people you learn in the trenches with. And these are the first group. This is the first place you should ask questions, because one of the things that's really great about how memory works is you remember 5% of what you see, or no, 5% of what you hear, 10% of what you see, 15% of what you see and hear, 50% of what you do. That's why capstone projects are so great. But you remember 75% of what you try to teach to others. So use use the group as an opportunity to remember that if I'm trying to teach something to others, I will learn it better myself as well. We learn together here, right? Learning together and building a community and building a group of friends who are in it together with you, very important. Great. So 5 weeks. Um, Remember, all the classes will be recorded and uploaded within a few hours of the live class. This means that, like, if you are in, what would I say here? If you are in like Europe in particular, Europe has a really bad time zone for this. Then don't feel pressure to like take the live classes at 2 in the morning, because that's not good for your health. Just watch the recordings later, and it doesn't matter. You will be able to have everything. You'll be good to go. And if you in the 5 weeks, if you watch the recordings or you attend live, either one will count towards your credit for certification. So don't worry about whether you miss a live. If you miss a live, you can always make it up within the 5 weeks. So then you also have infrastructure. So we will share all the infrastructure will be shared before the labs. Luckily for this boot camp, there's not that much, right? There's a little bit of astronomer setup that we need to do. Hopefully, y'all got the astronomer invite. We will be working to make sure that all of y'all have gotten that astronomer invite over the next day or two. You don't really need it until week 3, but that will be something that's super important, because we will be using Airflow for weeks 3 and weeks 4 for DBT, because we do DBT on Airflow. For the live classes, there will be a stage server classes. So like Discord stage, we use Discord stage because this is the only thing that is on YouTube. Everything else is recorded on Discord stage in a paywalled setting, obviously, because y'all paid for it. And then /lessons is where you'll be able to get your lessons, and then you just have to select the correct program so that you can have all the right pre-recorded content. So this is our schedule. You'll see we have TA office hours in the morning on Tuesday, and then a tech talk on Tuesday morning. Then we have classes. So the core classes are going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every week. So at the end of this, you will have 15 classes where you're going to be learning all sorts of interesting things about analytics engineering. Also, we have the tech talks. So we have a total of 10 speakers. So on the right there, you'll see 5 of the speakers. We have Carly Taylor, Jess Ramos, Ben Rogajan, Deepak Goyal, Prasad Rao, and a bunch more that will be announced in the next day or two. We do not have the one for Tuesday, or the one tomorrow. That's going to be the one that will be missing, but we'll make it up later, I promise. And then, our first tech talk will be Tuesday, but then the rest of the boot camp will follow this schedule for that tech talk. Everything else is going to happen exactly how you would imagine. So 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then there's also a 5 to 6 p.m. on Thursday. That's another that's an open Q&A with me, where you can just ask any questions you want. Make sure to not miss this 6 p.m. on Friday session with Matali on career development. It's very, very good, very, very good slot to learn more about interviewing and resumes and stuff like that. So, how to submit homework? There's going to be a slash assignments page that will be opening up, and then we'll have our data modeling on Iceberg, data modeling on Snowflake, DBT basics, advanced DBT, and Capstone project. These are our five modules, and then what the deadline is for each one. And there will be a conceptual data model, which we will be covering how to do in week 2. At the beginning of week 2, we'll be going over conceptual data modeling on how to build out your model for your capstone project. Because if you don't do your capstone project successfully, or like this modeling process successfully, you will not be it's not going to be it's correlated. It's very correlated with success on actually completing the capstone project, because if you don't have a good design, you're not going to have a good implementation. So make sure to go through on that. And yep, so how it works is you just create a zip, upload the file, and then we have prompts that will go through and grade your homework automatically. It does a pretty good job. AI gets it right about 95, 97% of the time. If you believe that AI got it wrong, just reach out to the TAs and we will get back to you, and we will do a manual review to see if you were right. So, and that's essentially how our homework works. The AI stuff's pretty great because you get immediate feedback. So, capstone project. There's going to be a couple things here. You have capstone. If you have an idea, it will need the following areas. So you obviously need a pipeline. You need quality controls, documentation, and visualization. So those things are very important. The pipeline will probably need to either be running with Kafka or Airflow. Your quality controls need to be on every step of the pipeline, checking to make sure that you have data quality and checking your assumptions. Documentation: what is this data being used for? What is the value? What is the impact that it's having? And what to do if things go wrong, kind of like a run book or a troubleshooting thing. And then visualization, because like a pipeline without a visualization is very boring, because you're just like, oh, look at my Airflow DAG. It's just step 1, 2, and 3. So those are going to be the main things that you're going to need in your capstone project. Also, your capstone project needs to be deployed in the cloud. If you are just running locally, that is not enough. That is like, we want to see the pipeline running in the cloud. We do actual real data engineering here in Data Expert. So if you do not have your pipeline actually running in the cloud, then that is not satisfactory. You have to have that screenshot. So yeah, the conceptual data model, I was just talking about that, week 3. We will give you feedback on whether or not you're on the right track, if your capstone project is satisfactory for what we're working on here. Because there are some other small requirements here around, like, one of a couple things. So there's 3 different V's of big data, right? So you have volume, variety, and velocity. And we're not trying to have you do some crazy capstone project that uses all 3, but your capstone project has to satisfy one of them. So volume, so your pipeline has to process at least 1,000,000 rows of data. Variety means your pipeline has to do at least 1 join. Velocity. So if you want to remove the join requirement, you can also look at the velocity requirement, and that's, you process the data in real time instead. So those are going to be, you need to have one of those 3 in order to have a satisfactory capstone project. So we have a lot of rewards here. So the top individual project and group project will receive additional discounts on future boot camps, both the DE and AI boot camps. And then they will also get a written LinkedIn recommendation from me, as well as we really encourage people to engage in the community and talk to the community. And these people will also get additional discounts on future boot camps and a LinkedIn recommendation from me. These are the top 3 categories here, are going to be most helpful, most funny, and highest volume. Keeping in mind that we have AI looking at highest volume. So if you just think you can just like say hi, 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 We only count volume on a meaningful comment. Just letting you know that, so you don't try to game the system here. So the other two things here are most helpful. That's based on reactions. Most funny, also based on reactions. We want the funny people. We want people cracking jokes. We want people to be uh, engaging in the community in that way. That'd be really awesome. So these are really, really important parts of the boot camp. Is if you are able to do these things, keeping in mind that these community engagers, that's based on uh, messages in the Discord community. So refund policy is pretty straightforward. So if you make a refund, if you want a refund within a week, we will give you 75% of your money back. If you want a refund within 2 weeks, we'll give you half of your money back. And then after that, there's just no refund policy. There's no refunds after the 14th day. That would be after the end of week 2 is the very last day that you can decide to refund or not. So pretty straightforward. Other things to be thinking about here is certification. So attendance policy. So remember, I was saying this earlier. You can either watch the lectures live or watch them recorded. Doesn't matter. Either way works. And then you also have these are the 3 certification levels. So you have the attendee certificate, which means it's the equivalent of like, I showed up, I watched the lectures, right? Which is great. Honestly, for a lot of people, that's where they get the value. Then the reward there is a certificate. You also get a certificate for the future ones here. So for excellence means you showed up and did the homework. You'll get a LinkedIn shout out and priority on our referral network, because if you actually do the homework, that means that we have a little bit more information that you actually know what you're doing. And so that will give us a little bit more with our referral network that we can help give you priority in. And then last but not least here is superb, which is where you show up to all the lectures, you do all the homework, and you deliver a high quality capstone project. And you get all the previous rewards as well as additional discounts on future boot camps. So that is going to be the 3 kind of um, rewards that you can be thinking about. Right. So if you really put your effort into this boot camp, the subsequent boot camps will be very affordable and very reasonably priced. So I highly recommend taking advantage of this and paying with your effort, because that will get you a lot further than you would imagine. So obviously, I'm not the only one who is in this boot camp who makes this run. This is our team. We have Zach, me, we have Matali. Matali is going to be the main admin person or support person that you are going to be running through. Bruno's amazing. Bruno is going to be teaching both DBT weeks. He is a DBT spotlight hero. He is probably one of the most well-versed DBT engineers in the entire world. And then behind the scenes, we have Wesley and Wan Wu. Wesley works on the full stack app, data expert, and Wan Wu works on some of our data infrastructure stuff. So if you have any issues with that, either reach out to me or Matali, and we can get those tickets down to Wesley and Wan Wu. So we have 3 TAs this time around. We have Raghavendra, Rahul, and Sandeep. These are going to be our 3 TAs for this analytics engineering bootcamp. You can see their Discord handles there. They will be running a lot of the office hours and stuff like that. So, definitely feel free to reach out to them. Again, reach out to them before you reach out to me. We have hundreds of students in this boot camp. So since we have hundreds of students in this boot camp, it would be overwhelming for me to answer all the questions. So definitely get reach out to them first before you even think about reaching out to me. But remember, reach out to your group first, then to them, then to me. So that's about it for the kickoff. I am going to take some questions now. Let's go ahead and see what people have for here. We say, about how long does it take to get capstone projects reviewed after submission? A few days, a week. That's going to take a few days. Yeah, for sure. A few days is going to be the right amount that you would be thinking about for sure. So if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and just drop them in the comments here on YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever you're at, and then we will do that, right? Do you have any advice on finding data sets for the Capstone project? The harder it is to get the data set, the better it is for the Capstone project. So part of that is like, do you web scrape? Do you use APIs? Do you do stuff like that? So we in the bootcamp we offer access to a few paid APIs. For example, there's an API called Polygon that we use that will that gives you access to high quality data about the stock market, and we're going to be adding a few more paid APIs this time around as well. If we were not able to attend Tech Talks, can we get access to recordings? Yes, everything is recorded, right? 100%. You mentioned you will have an AI bootcamp in July. AI has been changing rapidly. What is the syllabus you're planning for that? So it's going to a lot of the stuff in that space is not changing as rapidly as you would think. So there's going to be a week on prompt engineering, which is going to be more fundamental. Then you have things around like ML ops. We're going to be doing like how to deploy a model into production, how to evaluate if your model is working correctly, how to it, and then also how to fine tune and deploy your own open source models. That's going to be the way to do it for sure. That would be the way that I would imagine like this AI engineering bootcamp rolling. The yeah, is there a student discount? Reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can see if we can get you in with a student discount. See here. Are we going to have access to table locations where it is built on and see the file types? Yes, all of that. You got to understand the infrastructure here is very open. Like I literally just give you an AWS key and you can go nuts, right? Why is the curriculum look so different from the first iteration of this course? It's not. The only difference here is we focused on so there is a couple differences. One is we are focusing more on end to end. So the week 5 in this bootcamp where we go and do a capstone project, we will literally build a capstone project together. That's what the last week is, right? That's going to be a big thing. And then another big thing is like iceberg is very important, and it's just gonna iceberg is getting hotter and hotter. So that's another big reason why I shifted that away, right? Let's see here. Is it a one-time submission for the capstone project, or after feedbacks we can resubmit? You can resubmit 100%. Like you can resubmit up to the deadline. I think I saw this in an earlier video of one of your boot camps for a good capstone project was a LinkedIn endorsement recommendation. Is that still the case, or only the top 2 or 3? Only the top 2 or 3. What is the best way to reach you out? I mean, if you're in the boot camp, hit me up. Is RAG even relevant anymore with such long context models? Yes, it will always be. You're just going to put all of your content like tokens are always going to be expensive. Tokens are always going to cost money, right? And sure, you can have huge, gigantic context windows, which is helpful, but like RAG is definitely still relevant and will be relevant for forever. Because you got to remember, like, what we try to say here, like cost is a big thing. Latency is a thing, right? All of that stuff matters a lot. And RAG is a way to reduce cost, increase accuracy. All of those things are very important, even though you have long context windows, right? Can we resubmit assignments till the deadline? Yes, you can actually resubmit assignments until the end of the boot camp. So, like, if you need to catch up on an assignment, you'll be able to do that, right? Will you cover agents, MCP architecture, et cetera, in AI bootcamp? Probably. We're working with a lot of maybe working with a lot of people who are really on the cutting edge of AI here, and that stuff will most likely be in there at least somewhat, right? Can my capstone project be completed at the end of the second DE bootcamp? I'll need to learn from both to complete what I have in mind. Yeah, 100%. That's a good idea. Like stack them, stack them, stack them, and like get the ideas turning. Maybe think about the extraction layer in this bootcamp, and then move forward and keep building and keep building, and then hopefully you can slap an AI on the top of it at the end, right? Which would be great, right? Thinking of capstone that thinking of a capstone that used text news API do we cover how to work with unstructured data? There is going to be a class on how to integrate with AI and Snowflake and AI. 100%. That will be one of the classes in week 2. Unstructured data with Snowflake and Open AI. That's a 100%. That's something that we will be covering. Right. Will we be getting a mail on getting started with infra? Yep. Astronomer and AWS keys. Yep. 100%. That should be happening very soon. Week 1, we don't need this because we literally just use the data expert UI that can literally give you all the information you need about Iceberg. So that should be good. What questions should we be asking for coming up with capstone projects with business sense? Great question. Great question. I think there's going to be a couple things there. Like, if you can partner with a business, that would be ideal. Not everyone can. I mean, that's pretty rare, actually. But if you think about it, like, okay, like what are the things that you can imagine that would get you? Okay, so sorry, my brain is fried right now. Okay, so well, the questions you should be asking for a capstone project that makes business sense is like thinking about what is the impact, what decisions would be different, what decisions are different because of the data that you have, right? Just because you have a shiny dashboard, just because you have a shiny thing doesn't mean that you're changing decisions, right? And but if you are changing decisions because it's like, oh, I would have gone this way, now I'm going that way, that is going to be probably the best way to go. Okay, let's see here. What if we lost in the process of attending boot camp or feel anxious of not able to understand the outputs? I mean, that's where the TAs, the TA office hours are going to be helpful. That's where your group is going to be helpful. Those things are going to be really, really helpful. And like also know that like you can rewatch all the videos. Like everything is available to you within a couple hours of the live. So like you can really kind of go that way too, right? Since we will not have these tools permanently, what are the best ways to keep learning? Well, when you join, you get access to the tools for a year, which is a long time. It's a very long time, and that should hopefully get you a lot further than you could imagine, right? Want to build a capstone project using health insurance data like claims, provider network, etc. Do we have any data available in paid APIs or any paid data sets? Not anything. That's a very, very, very specific ask. I love that as an idea, and I love that as like a capstone project. And I think that would be a very amazing capstone project if you are working in health tech. So yeah, 100%. How does one get involved? You can join. If you join here, dataexpert.io/AE, that can get you in for a significant discount. If you want to join, you would be literally the most last minute joiners. But if you do, you get this is the very last day that you can get those 50% off for the DE bootcamp and the AI bootcamp. Will you give us some domain specific knowledge or projects? Great question. I talk a lot about my experiences at Airbnb and my experiences at Netflix. So there will be things that are, I'm gonna try to say here. Those are the things that I talk about from my domain knowledge. This domain specific knowledge is like that's not what this bootcamp's about, right? This bootcamp's more about technicals and like actually how to do things. That would be the way I'd be thinking about it. In what level of detail can we post public because this is paid content? So you can do summaries, like your own summaries of the content, or you can do single slides. So single slides or your own summaries of the content are going to be the best ways to go. If our capstone involves scraping data from a website and building a complex data model, will that variety offset the need of not having high volume? Yes. Yes, because you have the 3 V's, right? Variety, velocity, volume, right? And if the data that you end up getting into your project is like clearly difficult and like it had a lot of technical effort, then that will count. For DE and AI bootcamp, what is the coding and ML prerequisites? There isn't really any ML prerequisites for the AI bootcamp. For the DE bootcamp, I would highly recommend that you know a little bit of Spark, a little bit of definitely Python and SQL. Those are very, very important. Will there be any curriculum covered multiple times through the 3 bootcamps, or is it each completely unique? Completely unique. Completely unique. There's no overlap. That's the whole point. It's a 15-week challenge. It's also a challenge for me, by the way. Like, you know how much hours of content that is for me to cover? Where are capstones usually hosted? Astronomer. Right. So like, or like the Viz is on like Tableau, or the Viz is on like Superset, or what, Streamlit, or things like that. Right. That's gonna be the thing. Where can we learn more about the paid API you mentioned? Here, let me put it on here. So if you Google Polygon, that'd be good. Is there a free options for ones who can't pay right now? No. What's your tip to get our employees to cover some all failed on this last week? I mean, like, show them this live, explain the topics that are being covered. I mean, the number of employers that need Snowflake, DBT, and Airflow is very, very, very high. So yeah, it's a tricky problem. I want to get a kind of a letterhead. If you ask ChatGPT for this, like, ask, like, here's Zach's bootcamp, here's my role, give me a letter to my employer that says why this bootcamp would be beneficial to them. Definitely use AI. Use AI to do that. Right. I highly recommend that. That would be the way to do it. Um, I bought AE a couple days before. Will there be a way I can continue the next two with a discount? Yes. Yes, for sure. The data engineering bootcamp in the past has had an analytics track in addition to a D track. Will it be single track this upcoming one? Everything is single track. Yes. Because I learned a lot from the January bootcamp. One of the biggest things I learned from the January bootcamp was teaching classes side by side, where we had an analytics track and a data engineering track side by side, was just a mess, just a gigantic mess. Like, where it was like, because people didn't know what to focus on, people didn't know what was more important, people like got confused and overwhelmed because it was like the classes were literally at the same time, and it made it so people were like, what's going on? So it's much better to have to host the two boot camps at separate times, and so that they can focus on one and then the other, not at the same time. Because think about it this way: it's 6 hours of content, right, a week in this boot camp. The previous boot camp was like 12 or 13, and it was just like overwhelming for people, and overwhelming for me. Like, delivering on all that content was a very, very big task that I'm learning more that like less is more in some cases, where it's like you really want to focus on the depth of the content, not necessarily on the amount. Right. Let's see here. I'm thinking of a project that consumes data from a real-time API. I might need to learn Kafka or some other streaming tool that's not covered in AE. Yeah, and if you need access to that, we have like 20 hours of Kafka content that we can get you access to, Javier. So yeah, for sure, it's stuff that you'll have to learn self-paced, but we will freaking get you rolling on that for sure. Any recommendation for people looking for new grad DE roles? Very new grad DE roles are very difficult to get, because a lot of companies only need one or two data engineers, and they're not going to trust the new grad to do that, because it's like the data, right? How much time between the AE and DE boot camps? 0 days, or like it's like I think it's like essentially, yeah, it's very they're essentially back to back. Like there might be 1 week there. I will be nailing down the DE bootcamp date like probably in a couple days here, so we can open sales and start making money there as well. How much Python is needed for AE? You need to know the basics, because like we use Python and DBT in and Airflow, Python, DBT, and Airflow in the AE bootcamp. And you need to know it, but not like a ton. And you don't need the data engineering bootcamp. You need to know significantly more, because we cover a lot of PySpark and a lot of stuff like that. What NoSQL database do you recommend, and do you cover those in your bootcamp? I do not. I like a lot. I actually think Dynamo is pretty great. I like Dynamo and MongoDB. I think those two are pretty great, but we do not cover NoSQL anywhere in the bootcamp. We're not about that. Like, we cover rows and columns and joins. We're very SQL oriented here in Data Expert. So definitely that's another thing to be thinking about. And also, if you want to join last minute here, you can join dataexpert.io/AE, right? Is there a bootcamp student discount for the self-paced content? Yeah, for sure. Reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can get you that. Could you provide some ideas on capstones that you would find interesting? Yeah, sure. A couple things to think about. Like, imagine you created a product that allowed a creator to understand their LinkedIn traffic, or understand their YouTube comments traffic, and then it process that data in real time. Because you got to think about like if you could think about things like that, that would be cool. That's like a very interesting product that you could do, right? So, how much for the bootcamp fee? So you can get in for $2,000 right now if you join right here. But other capstone projects that are interesting, um, other things to be thinking about, like I've seen some very interesting ones based on weather APIs, like trying to understand the weather, because everyone has that kind of thing of like the weatherman is always wrong, the weatherman is always like doing things incorrectly, and so like I've seen interesting things there, and other spaces like building out projects that you're passionate about, like. If you have like, I've seen some interesting projects based on like animes or Pokemon or different things like that. That's going to be another big space where you can get a lot of good like energy and passion. That would be the way that I would think about it, right? That would be because if you're passionate about the project, that's what matters the most anyways, you know. Any resources to help land a new grad role? Yeah, just my newsletter. My newsletter is going to be the best option for that. I need to publish a new newsletter. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind on that, guys. But yeah, if you go to blog.dataengineer.io, that will give you that. So yeah, I think I can probably answer like one or two more questions here, and then we can consider this boot camp kicked off. Should be pretty great. I'm really excited for this time around. Keeping in mind that this is the only piece of content in this entire bootcamp that is not paywalled. Everything else going forward will be paywalled. It will be in Discord stage. So we will be covering that here in just a little bit inside the Discord if you join. And it'll be exciting because then you can join the paid community, join the community of learners. It'd be really great. My wife owns a small photography business. I couldn't meet the volume requirement, but would the Google Analytics API meet the variety? Potentially, yeah. I actually think that that's a pretty good idea. Like, because it's like one we had a couple boot camps ago. One of the winners was someone who actually built pipelines for a data, like or pipelines for a business. Because it's like if you can actually create real business value, that is the other thing. It's like you either have to do volume, variety, velocity, right, or create data pipelines that actually create business value. So that's going to be the way to think about it, right? Which course is better for someone transitioning from business background, DE or AE? AE for sure. DE is more technical. So these build into each other as well, by the way. So like if you start with AE, that will get you the foundation that then you can go and build into DE with. So definitely AE. AE is going to be the better way to go. What DSA to focus on for data engineering interview? Stacks, queues, recursion, backtracking, trees, breadth first search, depth first search. Those are going to be the best ones. Do we strong DSA skills for DE? Yeah, if you are like at FANG, like it's like comes back to like a lot of DE roles don't even ask for DSA. It just, but if there's just a lot of people who are obsessed with like the way that Facebook interviews, right? So they are like, we got to do it that way. So, but yeah, I mean, I've been asked the DSA question in every single interview that I've had since 2016. Interested in metric layers as a way of enforcing reliable AI reporting agents. Yeah, that would be an amazing project. Like if you built like an analytics engineering pipeline that then what it did was it was like AE pipeline, and then you use DE to augment it, and then you use AI to freaking do that, right? How much cloud do you cover in DE? Well, it's going to be mostly on Databricks. So we'll be covering a lot of Databricks and S3 and Amazon. So it'll be Amazon, Iceberg, Databricks. That's going to be the big thing that we're covering in DE. What's the cost of the DE bootcamp? The sticker cost is going to be probably $3,000. It's a little bit more, mostly because Databricks doesn't cover anything. Like they don't cover any costs for me, so I have to raise prices to pass the costs on to someone else. Would you recommend attending the data engineering open forum at Netflix next week? Obviously, yes. Data engineering forums at Netflix are always very, very interesting, and you can learn from the best of the best of the best that way. Yeah, if you're in the Bay Area, definitely do that. That's a very, very good idea. Like, yeah, but the other stuff we cover in the cloud, so Spark, S3, Iceberg, Databricks, Delta Table, Delta Live Table. those are the main things that we're covering in the data engineering bootcamp. So yeah, it should be pretty great. I'm excited about what's going on there. Which analytics tool will we be using for visualization? That's up to you. We don't really cover visualization in the bootcamp, but that's going to be up to you. Like, you can use Tableau. I can give you access to Tableau content, like self-paced content, like if you need help making visualization. Right? Are we going to use DBT Cloud or Core? DBT Core. Right. So, are you going to leverage the Amazon Iceberg service in the class or open source version? Great question. So in this boot camp, so we teach Iceberg in this boot camp, and we are going to be using Tabular. Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Tabular, well, now Databricks. So it's not S3 tables, but Databricks has their own Iceberg service that they are working on, and that's what we're actually covering here. Um, can we use Power BI? Yes, I would love it if you use Power BI. Can you go over what Matalia will go over in the career portion? Yeah, for sure. So obviously there's going to be it's a lot more interactive. Those sessions are a lot more interactive, where they'll be covering things like interview tips, resume reviews, things like that are going to be the big things, and kind of career guidance. Should be a really good supplemental session for people who are trying to build up their confidence. Is it a good idea to join DE Bootcamp in the next round instead of in 5 weeks if I am not strong on programming? It depends on where you're at. Like, I think that would be probably best. Like, in the next round, there's a good chance that the next round is actually in 2026. That's the only thing that I would caution you about. There is, it might be better to try and ramp up, but like, the AE bootcamp is lighter on programming. The AE bootcamp is lighter on engineering. So that's what I have to say about that. I've been thinking to build my capstone project around options trading. Excited to put it out for this bootcamp. I have seen one of the last capstone project around stocks trading. Yep, for sure. What is the stack for AE in the curriculum? Snowflake, DBT, Airflow. Those are going to be the best ones. How's the office hours going to work? Do we need to wait in line? So it's like a group chat, right? So where people, like, you submit questions, and then people vote on the most important questions, right? You cover differences between tabular and the open source versions. They're the same. Like they are literally the same. Iceberg, so tabular versus Iceberg, open source version. The only difference is tabular is an interface to it, right? The actual Iceberg format at the bottom layer, the actual Iceberg format is exactly the same. It's not like Delta in that way. Delta is different. Delta Live Table is different. So yeah. Are the referrals you mentioned to tech companies? Yeah, we can get you some referrals to tech companies, especially like if you get the excellence certificate. We've had many people get referrals to different tech companies, different opportunities, get chances to interview in big tech, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure. What essential tools should someone new to AE be familiar with, particularly for sourcing and managing data? So you need to be able to do like Snowpark if you're doing Snowflake. I'm just talking about the Snowflake stack, but Snowpark to like extract and load data, Iceberg to kind of manage the data in the lake. Then you have analytics stack, like different things around like visualization, experimentation, all that kind of stuff. But like Snowflake, DBT, Airflow will get you pretty far, but you might use something like Microsoft Fabric or Databricks workflows. The number of stacks out there that you can possibly do analytics engineering with is very, very, very high. So I would there's not necessarily an essential stack, right? Or a list of essential tools, because there's 5,000 different ways to do things nowadays. I teach Snowflake, DBT, and Airflow because they are probably the highest one, right? Really interested to know more about the change data capture and change log view capabilities. Would that be covered in the bootcamp? Yeah, so we have that content we have that content self-paced that we get. You already have immediate access to that content, and when you join, it was covered in the previous bootcamp. CDC was definitely. I spent a whole 4 hours covering CDC in the previous bootcamp as well. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be great, guys. I'm really excited. I really hope that y'all take me up on the 15-week challenge here. Today and tomorrow is going to be the kickoff for the very, very first class, the first lecture, the first lesson is going to be on Iceberg. Should be really exciting. It'll be the beginning of a very long journey that will end in the middle of July. And you will feel very, very confident with your skills if you go through that entire journey. I know that you will be crushing it. Yeah, super excited to get going. Yes. If I complete your DE bootcamp successfully, will it be relatively easier for me to land a role? Yeah, I think it will definitely help a lot. Like, yeah, see, yo, just landed an AE role working for a week now. Absolutely love it. Couldn't have done it without you. See, Runix is just crushing it, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like the number of people who do that, right? It was great. By joining the bootcamp, will we get access to the self-paced contents too? If you join, yeah, like we can get you access. Reach out to Matali and she can get you access to that content 100%. Yep. Um, I'm gonna fly from Florida to attend the DE Open Forum. Want to know if you are planning to be there as well. What day is that, Anish? I'm probably guessing I won't be there. I'm in Thailand for another week, so there's a chance I'm there, but we'll see. I just landed a job, and most of the work will use Microsoft environment. Would this bootcamp help me in terms of upskilling and support my job? So we cover nothing in Microsoft. Like we will be cover like that is the one stack that I need to add, which is like adding Azure and Fabric and all that stuff. And I am working with an instructor right now to offer a Microsoft Stack bootcamp that makes people feel more confident in the role that they are in. And that is not this bootcamp. This bootcamp is more open source, Snowflake, DBT, Airflow. And we'll be doing a significant amount of Trino in this bootcamp as well. Trino is another very powerful technology that I highly recommend learning. And it's like an open source technology, very very good SQL engine to be working with as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for that Azure bootcamp. If you know Deepak Goyal, he's going to be the main instructor there. I will be teaching. I'll pick up a couple lectures there. I'll pick up ones that are a little bit more fundamental because I have like no freaking experience with I have no experience with Azure like myself, like literally zero. So, but I can still teach stuff because I can learn the cloud wrapping pretty quickly, and then I can teach you the more fundamental stuff that is also super important. Yep. Are you going to be present on your $50 onboarding call? No, that's Matali. Matali takes those calls. 100%. That's not me. The version on Trino is from Starburst, right? Yep, for sure. That is correct. And that is open source Trino though. All Starburst does is help manage the DevOps behind the scenes. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to the stream today. I'm really excited to get this bootcamp kicked off. Tell your friends about this. Let's get as many people in here as we can. I know we're at the beginning of something really, really incredible, and I know that y'all are doing really great work here, and it's going to be really good. So have a good one, y'all. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it, and this bootcamp is going to be really, really great.